Ghosty fam, Amy here. Welcome to The Activity Continues, a podcast where three soul friends talk about all things paranormal. Ghosts, hauntings, psychics, movies and TV shows, especially The Dead Files, and other spooky and spooky adjacent things. We also like to interview people in the paranormal community, as well as past Dead Files clients and other interesting people. Sometimes we even tell your stories. I hope you enjoy the show.
Hello.
Welcome, Ghosty fam. Thanks for joining us again. This week, we're continuing our spring break series called Ghosts Gone Wild. This is week 5, so only one more left of these warm locations. This episode is one that Amy chose, so she can tell us more about it.
Hello, everyone. This one's called Deadly Force, and it is season 11, episode 13. Takes place in the Florida Everglades, and actually the town called Davie, Florida. The original air date, October 3rd, 2019. And the synopsis on the Travel Channel is Amy and Steve head down to the Florida Everglades to meet with a Reiki master who claims her family is being torn apart by violent paranormal attacks. She is worried if Steve and Amy can't help, someone's going to wind up hurt or even dead.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I will say this, we all noticed that there were a lot of very reusable sayings that they use a lot over and over and over again. This one was full of them.
So much.
Yeah.
So if you want to play a drinking game, this would be a good one to do it to. Or not. Sure. You might die. I mean,
small sips.
Yeah. Don't chug a drink.
Yeah.
You'll literally die because there were so many.
There were so many.
Obviously, you two never did Power Hour in college.
No, what's that?
Oh, yeah, I did. But I'm 40
you didn't do
now.
Shots. You did chugs of
drinks.
whatever you had. But they play a song countdown, and then every time it came up as whatever it was.
Ours was Darude Sandstorm, so you just chug it to the chorus of Sandstorm, just finish your drink, and then you had to have a couple ready so that you would finish one and just pick up another one, finish that one, pick up another one.
Oh,
how are we still alive?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you had to start early.
We want to go with how we're still alive. Let me paint a picture for you. It's like 2008, 2009. Even before that, between 2004 and 2009, we're at a house that is called the Hockey House, which then turns into the Lacrosse House. And the basement is not much better than a dirt floor.
Nope.
The lacrosse boys put in a stripper pole at one point, and there was a platform, whatever. It just had loud parties with DJs and everybody.
This is like every college house ever. Yeah.
Floor, shoes are sticking to it. This is where we played beer pong. And this is where we didn't use water in the cups. We actually had beer in the cups, and we used water to wash off the ping pong ball because that was going to save us.
It was so unhygienic.
But we would play with it. It would roll off the table. You'd find it underneath somebody's shoe. It'd be sticky. You're rinsing it in and you're hanging it off there, and then you're throwing it back across and still drinking when there's stuff floating in your beer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had the swimmer's house in Stevens Point. We went to the swimmer's house. That was our big thing. I met a lot of Steves there. A lot of Steves, I swear.
Brads and Chads?
No Brads and no Chads. Lots of Steves. I swear every person I met was named Steve.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then I don't remember. And then oh my God, we could go on about... To this day,
episode on how we got through college.
So one of the girls I was friends with, she knew people who threw like the best parties, and so we went to one called GI Joes and CEOs and Corporate Hoes, and so I wore just like a pantsuit with a bra and just a suit jacket because I thought I was thinner then, and to this day, I cannot drink any brown because I took a shot of brown beer liquor, instantly threw it all up. So
really,
first shots I did really was before Christmas one year when it was all the finals and everything. We were at Hockey Girl's house, and we were getting ready to go out, and
it was always some sport.
Oh yeah,
Hockey
well,
house, swimmer house, lacrosse house.
I played sports,
Not for
so
me.
I was always with that group of people,
Oh, I wasn't.
and we
I mean, I didn't play
we were
sports.
sitting at a
but
table playing games, and everybody was kind of leaving to go other places, and I was still sitting there with a couple ladies, and a guy sits down and has a bottle of black cherry Smirnoff. Ooh, ugh.
oh,
Yep,
I got gut rot just hearing those
That sounds
words.
awful.
black cherry Smirnoff vodka. And he sets it down on the table. Is like, I'm driving tonight, so I can't drink this. So what does our brilliant brain say?
We'll drink
Well,
it.
we gotta drink it.
Yeah. Yep.
Someone's got to drink it.
So we played games, and I mean, there was shots going so quickly.
Yeah.
And I do remember that night, which is crazy, but
That's amazing.
It was like, I remember going out after Christmas, and we were going hunting with my dad and my brother. We were headed out west to go pheasant hunting, and I had a sore throat, so I had to use the chloroseptic, which is cherry flavored.
Oh my God.
I
Yeah.
just about puked right back into the like anything black cherry for a long time.
Nope.
Oh, thank you.
It's amazing. Anyways, it's amazing. The point is, it's amazing we survived college
Yeah.
with the antics we did.
Yeah, it is.
So.
It is.
All right. We got some content warnings,
Yes.
people.
Content warning.
So deep depression, we have a murder, we have a suicide, graphic nightmares, inappropriate ghostly behavior. I think.
Childhood cancer,
Oh yeah,
Like a big-
childhood
right.
cancer.
Forgot about
kind of a
that.
big one.
Yeah.
Sorry. So,
I mean,
but
she's
this-
fine. She came.
she's fine.
through,
She
so-
lived. She's the Reiki master.
Yep.
So
the
she's
client.
living her best life. But
Yep.
yeah, she did have childhood cancer.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see. So as AP said, there's one more episode in the spring break series, but we do have some other fun things lined up. We've got some exciting interviews. We are bringing back Leah, the shaman,
Mm-hmm.
and she went on this really amazing vacation to
Yes.
Thailand and
She started in the
China,
UK.
I think. Was it UK?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
She's been
started.
all over. I mean, it was a very long, I think, an amazing trip. We
Mhm.
all follow her on Facebook
Mhm.
and saw all her pictures, and they look so beautiful.
Beautiful.
And
Just
she's
beautiful.
talking about, like, I don't know, a lot of you listening probably are following Cindy Keza, and she recently went on a trip like this where she just went and like learned from the natives about like how their spirituality is and all that kind of stuff. And it seems to me that I think this is what Leah did. And because it seems like she came away with a lot of new ideas and
Mhm.
stuff. So I asked her if she would like to come on and talk to us about that. She said she'd be happy to. And she had a lot of really great stories to share, she said. So
Awesome.
we're going to be meeting with her in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
And then that will be one of our first interviews back in the interview realm. And then we have at least 2 clients potentially lined up. One is interested. Right now she's in the stage of listening to us, our other
Mhm.
episodes, to find out if
Mhm.
she wants to or not.
That's fair.
And I haven't heard yet. So
We're not everyone's cup of
we're
tea.
not everyone's cup of tea. And that's why I always say,
Right.
go ahead and listen to us first.
Yeah.
And if you like us, then we'll like you and we'll have a great time.
Yep.
And if you don't like us,
that's fine. Then
that's
don't
fine.
come on. Yep.
No harm, no foul.
Yep.
So there is one that is in that process. And then the other, I just found the other day, and she is interested. I don't know if she has listened to us yet, but we've been chatting a lot. She's super cool. So not going to say who they are, but those are in the works. Pretty sure they'll both happen. And then we're also going to bring Zoe back. Zoe is our patron and friend who we brought her on once before to tell
Yep.
some cryptid stories.
Mhm.
And
Yes,
some
she
of her
had some
own-
really good experiences.
Yeah, she did. And I don't know if considers herself a medium. Does she? Do you know?
I don't know if she does.
She is a tarot card reader. She's pagan. I think she's a witch. I think she says she's a witch.
She's
But
definitely
she-
super sensitive because she
Yes.
has done readings for
Yes.
me.
And Amy.
Yes.
Yeah,
I did it.
she and
we
I
both
were
did
talking.
tarots. Yeah.
And she's like, I need to do a reading for you. And I'm like, yes, you
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah. You should do
You
one
just
with
gotta
her.
I need-
schedule it with her.
I know, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. So she's going to be on again and talking about how she does that. And yeah, I know she sees spirits and she talks to spirits. She found I had posted a picture of we did a house concert at my house, and Melissa, our
Mhm.
composer of our intro, and did a house concert at our house. And I took a bunch of pictures and I put them on Facebook. And so he's like, that one picture of this one part of your house, there's a little girl there. And she said she talked to the little girl, and the little girl likes my house because of the dogs. She likes to come and play with the dogs. And she likes that it's peaceful and calm. And I'm like, really?
Is she in,
Okay.
in the right house?
But so I know she sees spirits and can talk to spirits and stuff like that. I just don't know if she considers herself a medium or not.
Yeah, I
But,
don't know if she does either.
but at any rate, she will be back. And then the last little housekeeping thing is
2 things left.
Oh, yep, there's 2. You're right. As Megan mentioned, if you want to play along a little drinking game with this episode, because there's a lot of these repetitive phrases and things, because there's so many and we realize that there are so many in all the episodes, that we are going to design a little bingo game. And by the time this is out, we will
Or
have it done.
drinking. I mean,
And,
you.
Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, you can drink every time you get a piece on the bingo card.
Or just
Or you
dot
can
it
just-
if you're a non-drinker.
Either
Or
way,
put stickers or
Yep.
color it in or whatever
whatever
your
you wanna
little
do.
heart desires.
That's
It is
right.
your bingo card.
That's right. So we'll get that, and that'll be up
Mhm.
and ready for you by the time this airs. And then the last thing is I want to invite everybody to come on over to the Dead Files group, the Facebook group that we have talked about. There's a couple different groups, and there was one that was a hot mess for a while, and we were kind of making fun of it.
Mhm.
This one is pretty good now. It's very big. There's like 75,000 people.
There's a lot of people in it. Yeah.
but
But it's good.
It is good. They're
Lots
all
of discussions, lots about the
discussions.
shows and
Yep.
about other paranormal stuff, other paranormal shows.
Yeah, it used to be just Dead Files. And now that the Dead Files is sadly probably not coming back,
Is it sad?
it's
It's sad because we like the show.
yeah, I can't
And we like
imagine it
Cindy.
actually being successful again, but whatever. What do I know?
And it's not because of Cindy or not because of Amy. It's
No.
just,
No, it's just things have changed.
Yeah.
Whatever. So this Dead Files group is morphing into more of a like all things paranormal. And here if we want to talk about our experiences and does anybody had premonitions and things like that. So I'll put the link in the show notes. I urge you all to come on over and join the party. It's real fun over there. And I think that's probably all I have. Either of you have anything else you want to bring up?
nope.
Nope. Okay. Well, let's get her done. All right. So since this is the one that I chose, I wrote the overview for it. So cue the music. Tonight, we are traveling to Davie, Florida, which is in the Everglades. The client is Krista, who happens to be a Reiki master. She lives in this house with her mom, Michelle, and her father, Michael, or Mike. Her brother, also named Michael, and his fiancee, Kara. Was it Kara or Kara?
It was Kara.
Kara. But Michael and Kara do not stay in the house. They are in an RV that is on the property, and we'll talk more about that later. But basically, he can't stay in the house.
Because of the activity.
Right. They have been experiencing crippling anxiety, depression, brain fog, hearing voices, doppelgangers, nightmares, apparitions, and being touched. Steve first rules out some random animals, then he gets to investigating, and he finds out about a man who owned a lot of land including the client's land, and he led a really interesting life. And we also learn of a murder-suicide that seems like it should have been more a part of this whole picture, or at least talked about a lot more, but we'll get into that again too, or a little bit later. We all had some questions on that, so we will talk about that. Amy meets 2 ghosts who seem to connect well with Steve's findings. One is pretty scary, and honestly, she is being highly inappropriate with one of the living people and downright evil with another.
Yeah.
We see 2 sketches, one terrifying, and then on to the reveal. And this is where we learn who these ghosts are and how to get rid of them. Amy gives them some advice. They say they're going to do everything she says, but will they? Stay tuned to see if the activity continues.
They do refer to her brother as Michael Anthony.
I thought it was Anthony. I wasn't
Yep.
sure. And I was
That's
going to
so-
write that. I didn't write it down, but I was going to go back and check. But
Yeah.
then I thought,
Mhm.
oh, someone will tell me.
Because the family kept going back to calling, they put Mike in the screen, but the family kept calling him Michael.
Yeah.
And then that was the dad. And then the
Yeah.
son is Michael Anthony. And so that was their designation. So that's where I got confused. I'm like, why
Yeah.
did they use Mike if everybody else just calls him Michael?
Yeah. That is weird. Maybe
Yeah.
the crew called him that to not be confusing. I don't know. But
Be.
anyway. So I will. Okay. So the first thing Amy says, oh, no, sorry. Let me back up. Wait a minute. Let me start over.
That was me backing up. I don't know what that was. Record scratch?
So I will say that one of the first things that Steve says is, as he's explaining to us what's going on, if Amy and I can't find a way to stop it, someone's going to get seriously hurt. So that's going on the bingo card.
Yeah.
One.
Matt had to remove a lot of artwork and religious symbols.
Mm-hmm.
But
once he's done, it'll be ready for tonight's walk.
That's right. There's right. Amy says there's too much death in this little place. There's
Mhm.
hate, sadness, and loss, and some kind of religion here. Then she hears witchcraft and don't go in there.
Yep.
Krista thinks that it could kill someone.
Krista looks like she's 15.
She looks so young.
She looks
And
so young.
like when she's on camera talking to Steve or whoever, she doesn't seem that young. But when you look at like pictures of her, she looks very young. I don't know how old she was there, but she's adult, I think.
Mhm.
Because at one point Steve says,
I mean,
you're all adults. Why don't you just move out?
I feel like she's probably in her like early 20s.
Yeah,
She just looks
22 or
so
something.
young. Girl, what's your skincare?
I know. She's so cute too. That whole family's really
the
pretty.
whole family is just adorable.
Yeah, they are.
The ones we see.
Right. So she shows a picture of mom, dad, her brother, and his fiance. They live in the RV, and Steve asks why they don't just get their own place. And she says she doesn't feel right leaving her parents to deal with this alone.
And she's worried about them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the animals have been affected. They're basically on a little farm, aren't they?
I think it's a hobby farm because they
Yeah.
talk about like neighbors. But before that, Steve asks, what if Amy tells you you have to move out?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
Krista goes, Mom would be devastated. It's our dream property.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
yep. The dream home. It's our dream
And
home.
they're
That
going
goes
to
on the
fight this
bingo.
together. Yep. So look at that. We're in
2 more.
5 minutes
Yeah.
in. We've had
Yeah.
3 total.
Already got 3.
But yeah,
Someone's getting a bingo.
when they
Yep.
start calling out the animals, Steve goes, well, you got roosters and goats. I'm like, I think he means chickens because chicken is the animal. Rooster and hen are the
Right.
male and female versions.
I wouldn't
of
expect
those.
Steve DeChavi to understand or to know the
Well,
difference.
because he probably saw that they have the red on
Mhm.
top, and most
Yeah.
people think that that's all roosters, and
Mm.
it's not always. But I did put down a comment because they were talking, and they didn't give us a lot about like, well, are the dogs affected?
Mhm.
And it says, yeah, we have a new dog. How new? We don't know. How old?
Right.
We don't know. Is this a rescue? Does it there's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
Because they talk about, well, the dog stands at the end of the hallway and barks and then acts like something grabbed her. And I'm like, yes, I believe there's some stuff going on here. Obviously, there's definitely stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if you've ever had an animal that just gets woken up even or something like that, or
Yeah.
just kind of stares off, there could be a lot of things that go into that. So
Yeah.
there wasn't enough information there for my
Right.
For your liking.
liking on dogs.
Yeah, me too. Just the other day, we were sitting there watching TV, and Digby, our middle dog, was sitting on the floor, like between us and the TV, and he suddenly jumped up and looked behind him, and then ran in the other room. And I'm like, "Did a ghost goose you?"
Did
and
he
Maybe
fart?
the little girl
probably
pet his
farted.
butt.
He probably just farted.
Oh,
I mean,
scared
that's
himself.
Yeah, he scared himself. Yep.
Poor
That's
Digby.
not the first time that's happened.
No. He's such a gentleman. He's not used to farting.
He's like, "I don't fart. That couldn't have been
That
me."
is not me. And then
No,
he looked
sir.
like Greg. And he's like, I cannot believe you. And then he left.
Yeah, it's not the husband blaming the dog for the farting. It's the other way around.
It's the
Yep,
dog blaming the
obviously.
husband.
That's how it is in my
You, sir, are disgusting. Then he trots
Out of
off with
here.
his tail up and
Yeah.
you can just feel the disdain rolling off of Digby. If any dog, one of your dogs is going to have disdain, it's for sure going to be Digby.
Yeah. Digby's the one that sits fancy.
Vivian will
Soon
just
as he
judge
sits down, the
everyone.
foot The one foot goes over the other.
Yep.
Yep.
Vivian just judges everyone.
Yeah, and yells at them.
Gracie wants to be your friend.
Yeah.
And poor Fozzie doesn't know
just
what's
walks
going
around
on.
banging into shit and shitting on the floor. That's all right. Yeah, it's hilarious.
It's really a shit show at Amy's house.
That's what I'm saying. Today it was literally a shit show.
Literally a shit show.
Literally.
Poor
a shit show.
Fozzie.
Yeah.
So Krista's a Reiki master too. Steve asks her what led her down that road. And as a child, she had a neuroblastoma cancer, which is a brain cancer, and it had a low
No, it's-
percentage of survival.
Neuroblastoma is not necessarily brain cancer.
Well, the one she had was, though.
Was it? I don't remember her saying
I
anything
thought it
about
was.
brain.
Okay, because
Oh.
no, neuro makes you think that, but it also goes along with nerves in the gland system.
Oh, maybe I just made that up. I thought
Yep,
she
'Cause
said
I
brain
looked up-
cancer,
I
but
looked it up on the American Cancer Society, and I dropped some links about what neuroblastoma is.
I
I
thought
didn't
she
read
said
them,
it,
but
but
I'll
maybe
put them in
I
the show notes.
It's commonly
She might
affects
have,
the
and I
ad-
missed it, but
I probably
commonly
did.
affects the adrenal glands that sit on the kidneys.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
very it's common in children under the age of 5.
common, really.
That's where it's common, is in children under the age of 5. It is considered a rare type of cancer where
Oh,
it's under 20 cases a year, but it's rare for somebody over the age of 5 to get it.
oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's a typically rare form of cancer,
That's common
That-
in young children.
more common in
Yeah.
those under the age of 5. And I think I saw in the Facebook group that there were some comments that she was 3
Okay.
Oh,
when,
okay.
when she was affected by it.
Okay.
So there's more information from Mayo Clinic, but normally affects the adrenal glands that sit on the kidneys, but can affect other parts of the body. Stage 4, which is what they said she had,
Oh
has a
my
very low
God.
chance. So typically stage 4 is
Well, stage 4 of
That's a-
any cancer is pretty low.
the
High.
like highest.
I mean, low
yeah.
risk of survival.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
risk of survival.
I mean,
If you let me finish my
There's a
sentence, I'll get there.
chance.
So stage 4 it's a higher end cancer. Like it's
like
less
the
likely-
Gucci of cancers.
but there's usually a lower chance of survival rate for this. This one has a relatively high when you look at what stage 4 is at different cancers, 50% survival rate beyond 5 years. Friend of mine passed away from colon cancer at the age of 28 with stage 4, and that was like a 3% survival rate past.
Ooh,
Yeah, colon's pretty bad one.
that is a bad one. Get your
So-
colonoscopies, people.
Yeah. Clean those pipes.
It's not fun, but it's worth it.
And if you've got a history of it in your family, it can be genetic, so get it checked out.
And if you're old,
Check
get
it
it checked out
out.
either way.
And they also, in some of the reading that I did with on neuroblastoma, is that it can run in families.
Oh.
It doesn't mean that it is genetic, but it is potential that it could be. They're still trying to understand how everything works,
Mm-hmm.
like we
Mhm.
see with breast cancer and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this was a episode that definitely impacted me in different ways. Not that I've known anybody with neuroblastoma, but I've known others. You know, Katie was somebody who I knew and with the colon cancer, and
Mm.
she was like an older sister to me. And
Mm.
we're 14 years since she was diagnosed. Just about, yep. 12 years, sorry, math. But she was, 28.
Wow. Yeah, that's young.
Mhm.
Yikes.
Yep.
So yeah, she said that she looked into energy stuff, but at 3, she was interested in that stuff.
Probably
No, I think
after.
as
I
she
would
got older.
later. Yeah, as
After
she got
recovered.
older
Okay.
Yeah.
and got So that would be that's what
it-
I took from it. Like maybe
it
you're
sounded like she had a few bouts of it with it,
Mhm.
maybe
Oh.
from the very early on. She said something about that, and Reiki was a way for her to help kind of mellow out her energies or
Yeah.
control her energies.
Well, and Reiki's a healing thing too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, she said she had been doing. Well, Steve's like, so apparently this is more than you can handle, or something like that. He said it kind of rude, and
Yeah.
I'm
He
like,
said it rude in the reveal too.
yeah. I'm like, dude,
She-
she's like 12 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, she wasn't, but
And
obviously,
she's, I mean, poor thing is sobbing
oh my
Yeah.
about
God.
this. And I wrote down the tears and fear are definitely real, not Brittany.
Yeah.
not
And
Brittany.
she's definitely scared.
Hashtag not Brittany.
She's definitely scared to lose her family.
Yes.
I did say when she was crying, he didn't offer a hanky.
I
And I,
know.
said, rude, Steve.
I did that in my row. Why didn't he offer a hanky?
Yeah, rude. You
So-
offer everybody else a hanky, but not the 10-year-old? Come on.
I remember something long ago, and I don't know. I haven't ever looked into this if this was true, but somebody said that there had been some research into like the handing of a Kleenex or hanky or something like that is actually almost like a brushing off. Like, I don't want to deal with your emotions, so here's
Really?
your And I was so
Oh,
somebody was tying it into like it's a subconscious thing that people do to be like, I don't know how to deal with this.
I need you to
Oh, I
stop
think
crying
it's
now.
sweet.
Yeah, I don't think that's
I'm
how
just-
I don't think that's how Steve
I'm
meant
just
it when
saying
he gave them out.
that is something that was put out there in the ether a long
Steve
time ago
doesn't seem
around my
that deep.
brain.
I don't think Steve's that rude either.
No.
I mean, he would probably if it was me crying because I'm too liberal for him.
Right.
But
Your
I don't.
tears don't count.
My tears don't count. But allegedly, I should say I'm only guessing what Steve would think. I don't think he would like me.
No.
But yeah.
That's okay.
Anyways, okay. Does anybody have any more about the first section with Steven and
Mm-mm.
Steve and
Mm-mm.
Krista?
I love how you call him Steven.
I meant Steve and
That's when you're really mad at him.
Steven. Well, we have called him that before.
We have called him that. When we're mad at him,
Yeah.
we full name him. We don't know his middle name.
No. Okay, so next we're at Amy, and she sees an elderly woman who looks like a rotting corpse with 2 lights for eyes and ratty
Ugh.
hair. And I wrote, coming in hot.
To me, do you get was it Jeepers Creepers or something like that where the headlights like I don't know. There's a few different shows like that. Oh, Bly Manor. In Bly Manor.
Yeah.
Like I got an image of something like that.
Yep. Yep. But when you say Jeepers Creepers too, I think I'm picturing the movie poster, and I think it does have spotlight eyes or something like that.
I bet Megan knows for sure.
Because Megan watches all that shit.
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm like, horror movies, bring it on. No, I don't.
She's
And I'm
regretting very
trying
much
to
saying that.
not part that on Jordan because I know that I'm like ridiculously terrified of things.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm trying not to,
yeah.
but he's starting to like kind of be more afraid of the dark now.
Oh,
So
well,
he'll
I
be
think
like,
all
Mama,
kids
dark.
are,
And I'm
so.
like, yeah, I know. I'm like, it's okay. It's just dark. But,
Yeah.
you know, in my mind, I'm like, girl, be afraid of it because you don't know what's out there.
It is. I mean, they're afraid of a fear of the dark is fear of unknown. So
Just let your eyes acclimate to the darkness and then you can see a lot of stuff.
Then you can see all
yeah,
the
and
monsters.
that's even
in there.
scarier.
Yeah. Okay.
That's me at 3 a.m. when I have to let the dogs out, and then I have to try and get back to sleep, and I just lay there with my eyes closed, and I'm like, oh, now I see something over here. and now I see
You do
something over
that
there.
too?
Mhm.
Yes. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh, the spots are yellow. Oh, they're blue.
Yep.
Oh,
And then I'm
no,
like,
I
I'm
see
trying to
people.
be
I
asleep.
see faces.
I see people.
No, I see spots.
Not all the time though.
Anyways.
I see like swirls and I see
Yep,
faces.
I see swirls.
I see
don't
things
see
that become faces and then they swirl back out.
I had over the weekend when I went back to bed after feeding the dogs. It was a long hallway and there was doors on either side and there was a man that was coming walking towards me like he had something to say. I wasn't
Oh my
scared
God.
or anything. I
Oh,
was just like,
okay.
hey, who are you? But I didn't get any. But he kept coming. There was a couple of times and he would start kind
I
of
don't
like
understand. You weren't afraid. I don't understand. I would literally be like Fozzie and just it'd be drop, drop, drop of shit as I ran away.
have you guys done like the glaucoma test or whatever where they poof the eye?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Where it like has the little house and then it
Yes.
That
Yep.
was kind of like what it was. He'd get into focus and then it would set him backwards and then he'd get back
Oh,
into
weird.
focus and then set him backwards. But I know I had been talking to my grandparents over the weekend, but it's
Oh,
not the shape of any of them.
weird.
It's a tall man.
Weird. Maybe you'll find out who he is sometime.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this lady is loud.
Lights for
aggressive. Yeah, lights for eyes. That could be a good title, except that all of our titles are Ghosts Gone Wild. We could do AKA Lights for Eyes.
Lights,
Anyway.
fries, ratty hair, aggressive. Oh my. Haven't done it. Guys, I have a really great idea.
Never been done before.
We've never done it.
Nope.
Okay, so this lady wants to be seen. She wants to be the center of attention, and multiple people are being affected.
I know people like her.
Yes, we all
I'm
do.
right here.
I wasn't going to say anything to you.
I know. I know.
One of my dogs is that person.
Gracie.
Yep. Yep.
No hesitation.
Nope. We all know that one. Because you can't walk into a room without her going, hi, hi, hi,
Yeah, yeah.
hi. Rugger.
I hated in this though, where Amy's like, she puts her mind in their minds.
Yes. Yes.
You
Yeah.
Yes.
Get
I
out.
hated that.
out.
Yes. And then she says she's trying to talk to them, but it sounds like gibberish.
Mhm.
And Amy says it makes no sense because her brain's all over the fucking map.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, same. Yeah, same.
It's called ADHD.
I was telling the girls in our chat, I started to do my notes Saturday. And you guys, I have watched 11 minutes of the show total. Between that time, I had made 2 phone calls. I'd texted 2 people. I had played a game and I'd done my word puzzle. It was like 30 minutes to watch 11 minutes because
Yeah.
I would write a sentence and then I'd stop and do something else.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
my mind is all over the map too,
Yep.
is
You
what I'm
gotta-
trying to say.
Yep. Write all that down so when you go to talk to somebody, you can be like,
Yeah.
here's,
They'll be like, do you have
So
an
you don't forget.
example? And I'm like,
Yeah.
hold the fuck on.
I'm going to just let me pull out this scroll.
Let
And
me
I actually
find
will
it.
write it on the back of a CVS receipt, and then I'll just have to have one piece of paper. The joke is that the CVS receipts are really long.
That's right.
It's not as funny if you have to explain it.
Yes, it is.
Well, our friends in the UK might not know that
They might not
CVS
know what
receipts are
CVS
super long.
is and that
It's a
their receipts
drugstore.
are super long.
That it's super long, not because you buy a lot. It's super long
No.
because it has 5,000 ads on the back
Yeah.
and coupons.
And coupons.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Anyway.
Anyways.
We're never gonna get through this episode.
Yeah, we are.
We are in like the 3rd section here and 47 minutes in. Okay. So the living room. Can we move on to the living room? Steve's
We can
part?
move on to the living
Okay.
room.
So we're in the living room. There's crippling anxiety. Oh no, this is still Amy.
Yeah, we're in the living room.
This is still Amy. Okay. It's a different color on my screen and it shouldn't
Are
be.
you reading Amy AP's?
Mm-mm,
Miss,
I'm
I
reading mine.
color coded my notes.
I color coded. What I did, I just
They're
make
making me
Amy.
look bad.
I make Amy's and Steve's sections different colors
Oh, okay.
so that I can tell what's happening, like whose it is. And so this one, it was green and then it was yellow, and it shouldn't have been because it's still Amy's.
No, this is Steve.
This is
Oh wait,
Steve
never
with-
mind. I'm looking at my notes.
No,
Never
it is.
mind.
It is. It is Steve with the crippling anxiety and depression. That
Oh,
comes
you're
out
right,
of
you're right, you're
nowhere.
right.
Yeah, I know I'm right.
I thought
You
this
two
was.
talked yourselves out of being right.
I thought this was Amy feeling the crippling anxiety, depression, and brain fog. This is Krista telling
Mhm.
Steve.
And it's only happens when you're at home and you
Yes.
hear voices, but you can't figure them out.
Oh.
She sees a figure that's mimicking her mom.
I
Yes.
hate
Her mom, she goes-
mimickers.
Yes.
Well, we learned a new term for it later on. So
Yeah,
stay
we
tuned.
do.
Oh, I
We
didn't
do.
notice that term.
Yeah, and AP and I both tried to look it up and I didn't find anything.
I didn't find anything, but I have some thoughts on it.
Okay. So I think now we are back to Amy. She sees the elderly woman. She's storming through. She says she doesn't know how these people stay in the house. They might see this lady. She hates everything and everybody, but she wants to be alive again, which is not good because it means she might try to possess someone or jump them. And she puts her hand over the living people's mouths and gets right in their face.
Hmm I said that's
Mhm.
creepy as hell.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the way I do my notes, I've started doing like correlates to so and so. So the different things. So like Steve is talking with Krista in her room, and we start hearing about feeling of being held down while
Mhm.
she's sleeping. She's awake and she knows she's awake, but she can't move. But it's
Mhm.
not quite sleep paralysis because she can move her body, but she can't get up.
Right.
The nightmares being super graphic.
Yeah.
Specifically seeing her brother dying, like he drowned in the bottom of the
Mhm.
pool. And then she feels like something is attached and it crawls into my brain and causes
that.
much mental anguish. So that might be where you get confused on, is this Amy or is this Krista
Yeah.
talking? Because Krista was very much going through like how Amy might describe something going on inside of her brain.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And she's like,
Yeah.
it comes at me at night.
Uh-huh.
It stays with me all day.
Yeah. And Steve
Hate
called it
it.
a temporary possession,
Mhm.
Gross.
which
I hate that.
we find out it kind of is.
Yeah.
Amy says, the woman comes in here to work.
Yeah.
And Matt's like, what do you mean work? To kill the person.
hmm
She thinks that if she kills this person, she can take their soul to become alive again. I don't think that's how it works.
Mm-mm.
No. I mean, what she
But she
really wants
doesn't
is
know
the
that.
girl's body.
Mhm.
She wants to inhabit the girl's body.
Yeah.
Mhm. But that's not what she must be presenting to Amy. So she's a little.
Yeah.
Well, she did say her mind was all over the place.
She's cuckoo bananas. We know that. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Now we talk to Mike, Krista's father. And like AP said, it says Mike on the thing, but they all call him Michael.
Yep.
He was not a believer, but he is now.
Check.
Bingo.
Check. Yep. There's another.
Mhm.
We also have to add to the bingo card the reluctant husband who
Mhm.
thinks
Yep.
that everything is bullshit like mine.
Mhm.
He has seen apparitions. He saw a guy standing there looking at him and he turns and walks away. And Steve asks if it was just like a mist or whatever. And he said, no, full facial features. He knew exactly
Yeah.
what he looked like.
He even
Saw his
said he had a
clothing.
gray beard.
Yep.
Like that's how clear this apparition was.
Yep.
Yeah. And Steve goes, "You sure? You sure?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm sure I wasn't dreaming."
Yeah. Fuck you, Steve. Just
Yeah.
kidding. But,
And then he says that he feels like he's watched in the bedroom. And Steve asks if it's the dogs.
yep.
You
I
have 3
said-
dogs. You sure it's not them?
That's going on the bingo card too.
Yeah. I said not the dogs, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
It's never the dogs.
I
Not the dogs.
added a word in there.
Yeah.
This is a family podcast. We're keeping it PG.
Well, it might be a fish.
No, we're
animal.
not.
No, we're not.
I mean, I wouldn't say it. Well,
We're
yeah.
not.
Yeah.
It's not a family podcast.
Mm-mm.
But Mike or Michael said he feels like something grabbed him and like pushed him over, like it wanted to sit next to him on the bed.
Mhm.
But then has also said like he feels like 20 people are tugging on me. And then we cut to Amy.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's doing weird shit in here. She likes the mail. She wants his
Yeah.
attention. Matt goes, "Why?" She's got the hots for him.
Yeah.
And Matt's face, I
Yeah.
took a screenshot or I took a picture of that. Matt's face was like, ugh.
Yeah. It was
Like,
funny.
what?
That's like better him than me.
That'll be in the video version of this
Yeah.
if you guys want to watch that. It'll be
She's
right
like-
here.
She's like petting him, like, "Oh, look
Mhm.
at your
Yeah.
eyebrows. Oh, look at your ears. Oh, look at this over here." Like
It was so funny the
like-
way Amy's like she's imitating.
She's
it.
touching the pillow.
She's touching the pillow and she's poking at it like, "Oh, look at your eyebrows. Oh, look at your ears." And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Mhm.
And then she says, "It's fucking weird." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, dude, it's fucking weird."
Yeah.
And then she says, "It's constant. Oh my God." And this lady takes showers with them.
To which I literally out loud went, ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
I
like
doesn't-
yelled that. Yep.
Yeah. She doesn't leave their
No.
house she doesn't leave their side until they're out of the house.
yeah.
And Amy says they would have dreams about her.
And she did say there's nights that she'll touch the man all night long. She'll
Yeah.
just be touching him all night.
God, can you imagine?
No. I can't.
He must think he has a spider on his face.
And he'll probably just casually brush it off.
That was like the guy from the last episode.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, I was sitting in the basement and I was watching a movie and I saw a spider
Was
on the
it-
wall.
Was it Roller Gator?
It was Roller Gator.
Did you watch like 10 minutes at a time or?
No, I watched the whole thing. What do you mean? Did I miss a joke?
Oh, because you can't watch the Dead Files more
Oh.
than 10 minutes at a time.
There it is. Yeah. Um, so I was sitting watching Roller Gator and superb movie.
I watched it too. Megan and I watched it at the same time and texted each other about it.
It was so
Um,
bad.
Gummies
But-
were involved.
Mm, yes. So there was a spider on the wall and it was a big spider. And so I hit it with my slipper because I called my husband and he didn't answer. And I said, I've got to take things into my own hands. And so I hit the spider and it fell down behind the couch and I didn't know if it died. So that was the end of my night in the basement. And it was like 10 o'clock and I went
Well, I'm
upstairs
out.
and I went to bed. I was like, I don't know where he is. I'm out. John's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, he could come back and kill me. I still to this day, granted it was only 2 days ago, I don't know what the plot of Roller Gator was. I do not know what happened in that movie.
I don't know that it had a plot.
It was a stuffed, like not even stuffed. It was like a balloon of a
It was a puppet. It was a puppet alligator, purple.
that she carried around in
Alligator.
her backpack.
Yeah.
And
that
its
this girl-
hands were weirdly on its nipples.
it was stuck to it. They were stuck to it because they didn't move because they were Yeah, it wasn't a good puppet.
I don't even know what the plot of this movie was.
Yeah.
And there was a weird guitar the entire movie in the background.
Yeah. It looked like it was made by 5-year-olds. And then
It did.
had this terrible dialogue. What was it? Booger breath was what the
Booger
gator
breath,
called somebody.
Fish. He called them fish bait brains instead of fish for brains, fish bait brains.
It's like what you would expect a like 7 or 8-year-old boy to write.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad.
It was so bad.
It was hilarious though. It was hilarious.
It was. Anyway, I don't know what got me on that tangent, but
The
back-
spider.
thank
I brought
you.
up the
Oh yeah,
spider.
the spider. Thank
We
you.
made the connections.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody's on top of this. That should be on the bingo card too. Megan gets confused. That should be the free space.
Yeah. Everybody gets that one.
Everybody gets that one.
Okay, so Michelle, the mom, she also felt someone sitting on the bed and touching her, and she thought it was Michael, and it wasn't him. And she said Michael's touching seems appropriate. I mean, the way the lady touches Michael
Is
seems
appropriate.
inappropriate.
It's
Mhm.
appropriate for the setting.
Yeah, and she sees her touching, the way the lady touches her, as more loving.
Yeah,
Which-
I was
which-
like,
I
Are
don't
you-
think so.
are you sure?
I don't
Yeah,
think so.
because in the reveal, Amy's like, she wants him. She hates everybody else.
Yeah,
So
she
she's not
hates-
lovingly touching you.
Yeah.
But
But we don't spend a lot of time talking about Michelle.
No.
We have a first that I know of in the show with Steve saying, "So Michael Anthony's over there, huh? Can I talk to him?" And she had already been talking about like some of the experiences that he's been going with. She said, "I don't know what's going on with him, but I don't think so."
Yeah,
And so that's the
she said he
first-
can't do it.
he can't do it. And
I'm
then we
like-
hear a little bit more later on.
Mhm.
mhm.
But I don't remember having one where we talk about somebody
No,
and
And
not
they're there.
not that they can't do it.
that they
It's
can't
just-
do it. A lot of
they-
times we get that they were interviewed and they just
Yeah.
didn't show it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think they did that to showcase how bad he really was.
Yeah, Yeah.
Because he was in a very bad place that we
Yep.
learn later.
Yep.
yeah. And she
I
did
felt-
say at that time that he was held down in that back bedroom that used
Back
to be
in
his,
him, yep.
and his overall behavior has become dark and depressed.
Very
And
moody.
she says, I'm afraid I'm
angry.
going to lose my son.
Yeah, that was really sad.
And
This whole
again-
family was just so sweet.
Yeah, yeah, they were.
But when Amy goes into that back bedroom, she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, there's sadness. Oh my God, I don't like it in here." Like she's just
Mhm.
very like,
Mhm.
"Oh no!" Like
She's like, I just want to burst out crying.
you
Mhm.
feel like you want to start bawling in here, just wretched crying. Which to me, like wretched is like stomach is so tight that you're almost puking because you're crying
Yes.
so hard.
Like you're
Mhm.
crying with your whole body.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she said, "I don't know if it's the dead or the living crying."
Mm-hmm.
But she
Yeah.
said, overwhelmingly, the feeling of the person is an empath,
hmm
and that Amy was getting this person was getting physical with the person, hitting them in the stomach, hitting and tripping. She's
So
just
the
having
ol-
fun torturing this person.
Yeah. The ghost is having fun torturing him. And she said the person in this room needs help ASAP.
Yep. Yep.
So they were right about Michael to be worried about him.
Right. And I think another thing we need to put on the bingo card is that one of the clients has abilities.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one.
And this
yeah.
one there will be 3.
Yeah.
Or maybe even 4. I don't know. They didn't really say that much about the dad, but everybody else.
hmm
Okay, so now Steve's doing his offsite investigation. He meets with some animal control experts to rule out the fact that there might be animals that got
They
inside the
basically
house.
live in a freaking swamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They live in a swamp.
They got roosters and chickens and goats. And
Oh my.
the men's
Eh, The animal
Oh my.
control. That's the title. The animal control experts' names are Isaac and Kevin. I
Yes.
wrote them
Oh,
down.
okay.
They were
I
delightful.
appreciated Isaac and Kevin because they're like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely rodent activity in the attic and roof, but they're not getting in the house. So
Yeah.
one of them said, I don't think this is the activity your clients are experiencing.
Mhm.
right. And I'm like, Steve, really you think that monkeys and pythons are grabbing them while they're sleeping?
Well, I can tell you that a mouse falling on you does not feel like somebody grabbing you because
Gross.
when we were deer camp years and years ago, just have like naked beams up on the top and
Put
sleeping on a
some
cot.
clothes on them for Pete's sake.
This
And
is
it
a
was
family
hot.
show.
Have
It
some
was hot.
dignity.
And up in the loft, all the heat comes up to the top. So you sleep with like your leg out because you're just sweating buckets.
That's how the monsters get you.
And well,
sleep
the
with my
mouse
leg
got
out all
me.
the time.
And all of a sudden I'm kind of half awake, but then I feel on my bare skin 4 little feet running up my leg. And
This is
No.
reason. This is reason 1 billion why
like,
I don't
what the
sleep
hell is that?
outside.
And I kicked my leg across, and I mean the room isn't very big. And my buddy Kevin was on the other cot, like 5-6 feet away, and he goes, "What was that?" I go, "A mouse." He goes, "Dang it." 'Cause we do our best to clean out the mice, but they can get into anything. But
Yeah.
I can tell you, 4 little feet running up your leg does not feel like a human hand grabbing you. Even a
Right.
mouse falling off of the ceiling.
I mean, that'd have to
Great.
be a
Now
really
I have a
big
new
mouse.
fear unlocked of a mouse falling on my head. Great.
It fell on my leg. It's fine.
Moving
I always
on.
worry that I'm going to get a mouse crawling on me because we used to anyway have mice down here in the basement. But
I'm always afraid of spiders. I didn't even think about mice. I'd prefer a mouse to a spider, honestly. But they have gross
not me.
tails.
no, they can carry rabies, so you could get real sick if you got bit by one.
Okay, we need to move on because I'm
Okay,
just
moving
feeling
right along.
everything on me.
Here, this will cheer you right up. Amy
Great.
was shown a bed with arms coming out from
Oh,
under.
that's right. Wonderful.
And something grabbed her ankle, and she said there's a nice little hole under the bed.
Yep.
And this lady does not want Amy to see it.
Because that's where she lives. She lives in the hole under the bed.
Yep.
The ghost lady.
Yep.
So great.
Great.
For
Who
her.
lives in a hole under the bed? Creepy
Ghost
corpse
lady.
lady, square pants.
With lights for eyes.
Who lives in a hole under the bed.
We need
It's
to
creepy
workshop it a
ghost.
little bit.
Yeah. We're gonna work on it. It's it's in progress.
It's going to be a new hit. I
Wait
bet you
for our
Taylor
single.
Swift will sing it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
next up is the genealogist.
Not a gynecologist.
His name is Mark Fearer. And they're on one of those marsh boats.
Airboat.
Airboat.
What?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, what was the point of that, you guys?
it was
what
so
was
dumb.
the point?
Steve goes, I don't usually have my interviews like this or whatever the hell he said,
I
but
know.
it's
It
just
was
like,
kind of dumb. I'm like, dude, they must have paid
What?
a lot of money for that boat, and that's why they wanted to make sure they showed it.
What was the point? It had nothing to do with anything.
No, it didn't.
because they were in the Everglades. And here's where I think it connects is to the person's story that we hear about, because
Yeah. I guess they did want to
Loosely.
show that we're in a marsh.
Very
but-
loosely.
well, it
I
was all
guess.
land that he tried to sell.
So Mark, the genealogist, tells us
Not a-
about
Not a gynecologist.
not a gynecologist, Richard J. Bowles. And there was some confusion on at least my part because I couldn't understand if his name was Bowles. The closed captioning said Bulls.
Yes. The closed captioning said
Yeah.
bulls.
And
And then it
later,
it wasn't until
Boles.
yeah. And then the death certificate said Bolles.
Yes. Yep. That's how I knew because I
And
saw. I
that's
paused.
where
on
I
the
found it
death
online.
certificate. Yeah, I did find a bunch of stuff on him. Actually,
Mhm.
I couldn't find anything at first, and then I know APU found some stuff, and then I went back today and I found a whole bunch more stuff. So I'll put the links in the show notes. We can talk about some of it if you want.
They
but
so skimmed over
yeah,
this so much.
this is actually a really fascinating story.
It is.
It's really, really interesting about this guy. So he was super charismatic, ladies' man. He was short, 5'6", which made me laugh because isn't that how tall Steve is? So they call him the Napoleon of finance.
Which I never found any information on that. I looked up who they called Napoleon of finance, and I found somebody named like Ferdinand Ward or something like that.
Oh,
Really?
I did find one article about Richard. They called him Dickie,
Mhm.
Dickie Bowles, and it did mention Napoleon of finance, but I didn't find it by Googling Napoleon of finance.
Yeah,
found it by
I
Googling
googled
Richard J.
the
Bowles.
Napoleon of finance because I was like, well, if somebody's got a nickname like that, because he was also on the New York Stock Exchange
Yeah.
at the age of 23.
At
which is, yeah,
23.
Yeah.
yeah, in 1800s, because he was
Yeah.
born in he was 73 when he died in
Yeah.
1917.
Oh, I found his birth date I found his grave actually. So on the Find a Grave website.
Okay.
Anyway, I don't recall what his date of birth was, but at in 1908. Oh, he was married. His wife's name was Julia. Things went bad. He had some affairs and bad investments. In 1908, he got 500,000 acres of swampland from the government to sell.
You forgot that he had a divorce. So has affairs, a divorce, bad investments. His life goes to shambles,
Yes,
which is
yes.
definitely a.
Julia with, yeah.
Yep.
And then some of the property that he was given to sell is the client's property. And he convinced people who had never been to Florida that they should come here and buy this swampland. He said they called it
Paradise.
Garden of Eden.
He called it the Garden of Eden, Tropical Paradise, and the Promised Land. So
Yeah.
I found information specifically on this and why he got the 500,000 acres, because
Okay.
that wasn't really clear to us. Like, why is he being handed?
Yeah, I
this
thought that was
acreage?
weird too.
So he didn't technically, I don't think he owned it, but he was given it to sell. So what happened was he had other land schemes. He had a mine in Colorado and farms in Oregon. So he's approached by the governor and the former governor, or the governor and the future governor of Florida, as they were doing reclamation of the swampland. So they were supposed to be literally draining the swamp and putting it into more fertile soils to encourage people to live in Florida. But it didn't really get drained. So he had multiple companies out there to sell the land. So he had salespeople out there selling the land for him. And they had, one was the Florida Fruitlands Company, where they were selling 180,000 acres of the farm for up to 12,000 acres, or 12,000 farms, which is about 15 acres. And each of those farms would have cost $240 in 1908, which is about $8,000 today. For
Still
15
a good
acres,
deal.
that's really good.
Yeah.
The salespeople went across the country promoting, promising a Garden of Eden, the tropical paradise or tropical land. And these swamp boomers were enticed potential buyers with the sales literature, quoting government officials. So this is a quote from one of the articles. These swamp boomers enticed potential buyers with sales literature, quoting government officials who extolled the possibilities of the Everglades. In one such advertisement, U.S. Secretary of Agriculture James Wilson said, quote, that doubting Thomases were waiting for the Everglades to develop before buying would regret it all their lives, end quote. And that was from a website that's everglades.fiu.edu that I got that from. So it he got put into this position a little bit because he could spin a tale. And then when it started going south, the government was like, oh, we didn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah.
Because they went after him too.
Yeah, he was sued by them for fraud by the government.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, he's just a real estate broker. I mean,
Yeah.
that it said real estate was on his death certificate.
Right.
One more thing I want to mention about his death certificate. It said he was a widower. It didn't say he
Really?
was divorced. It said he was a widower.
Well, did he divorce Julia the physical way?
So I don't know if I was wondering. Okay, well, let's move on a little to what happens when he dies, or if you want to talk any more about what happened while he was alive. We should
No,
do that
just
now.
when he passed was in a smoking car of pulmonary edema.
Yeah.
And in a large chart.
Yep.
And then they
And-
did say out of nowhere, a woman came forward claiming they'd been married for like 20 years with
Yeah.
2 children.
And that he was married, that he was with this. She said she was with him even when he was married to Julia.
To Julia. They were
So
having
now
an affair.
Now I'm wondering if she is like the first wife that died, quote unquote, but didn't really. Like he just
but they
said
only
she
talked
was
about
dead.
Julia as the first wife, and then that he divorced, and then they didn't say anything about another person until she came out.
So
Right.
maybe he was married, kept her as a mistress for 20 years, but they only mentioned her. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who this dead wife is.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
why I'm
unless-
wondering if this woman maybe was the dead wife, wasn't really dead. And she came back saying, hey, I've been here this whole time. I have kids with him. I've been with him for 20 years. But he somehow told somebody that he was.
But she
Oh.
said she was having an affair with him while he was with Julia.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah,
She
I
could
don't
have
know.
been. I don't know either. I just thought it was weird that it said, and they didn't talk about this in the show at all, him being a widower. I just noticed it on
No.
the death certificate.
But
Because
I mean,
I'm always nosy and I always stop and pause and take a picture and then
I'm curious if he
embiggen it.
I'm because he divorced Julia. Maybe that he got married afterwards, even though he was starting to have issues and whatnot. I don't know. All I know is
I-
that at one point
He did. Well, oh no, okay. The woman that came back, her name was Susan Thompson Bowles.
Susan,
Yeah. Susan Thompson, who came out trying to get his will.
His money. Yeah.
But she couldn't prove anything,
Mhm.
basically. We don't really learn a lot about this. We just know that she was there. And Steve has another super sensitive comment. Okay, so we got this dead con man and a secret wife and kids.
Uh-huh.
Way to be eloquent.
He doesn't have a lot of respect for the dead con man, so that's why he called him that.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, but wouldn't we call him something else today? Who does the dead con man make you think of?
I'm not tracking.
I'm not tracking.
Orange Man?
He's not dead.
Oh.
I know he's not dead.
So you're saying Steve considers this guy a con man, but not his favorite guy.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay. I thought I was supposed to be thinking of another dead con man.
No.
And he's not dead. So I was thinking of the orange guy.
Mhm.
But I was like, nah, that's not what she means because he's not dead. Okay. Got it. Yeah. So they show Amy going into the house from the outside, and it looks like she's entering the first time. So I think that's edited strangely. I think
Mhm.
this is what
Agreed.
she sees right away in the beginning. The elderly man in his 70s, he's about 5'7", and he's afraid of someone. And she thinks it's his wife, and that's the elderly lady, and that he knows that she's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy says he has some heart problems and thinks the lady may have killed him.
Mm-hmm.
So pulmonary
Jeez.
edema is liquid in the lungs, by the way.
Okay. Does edema means swelling, right? Like fluid swelling? Yeah.
So pneumonia. Maybe she tried to drown him once or twice.
That
One of the
classic old tale.
That old chestnut.
Drown me once, fool me once. Drown me twice, I die. I don't know. That was
We'll workshop
terrible.
it. We'll workshop it.
We'll workshop it
We'll
along with our
get back to
song.
you guys on that one. That'll be with
Stay
our
tuned. That'll be our
Yeah.
second hit.
Yeah.
Off of our first album.
When I was digging through the archives, I found an interesting article that I will put in the show notes. But somebody had said, one Iowa investor said after purchasing the swampland and inspecting it, he said, "I have bought land by the acre and I have bought land by the foot, but by God, I have never before bought land by the gallon."
Because it's swampy.
Because it's all wet.
It's all water.
And then I was wondering why anybody was looking for any money, because I thought he died poor because
He was
of
tied
all
up in
the-
lawsuits.
He was all these lawsuits, but it
Yeah.
said
He was
it
a
said-
millionaire,
Yeah,
multimillionaire.
It said that amazingly, that in his trials, especially the biggest one, the jury decided that Dickie Bowles was a quote unquote honest man, and he was judged innocent by the court. He was later awarded $1.4 million by the state of Florida for his
Wow.
past land
I-
sales.
I think that there's more to the story here, and I do think that there is something that he was the scapegoat for the government.
Mhm.
hmm
I mean, he made some of those deals, but he was told that they were doing the reclamation, that they were,
hmm
making this land into something that was usable.
Yep. Yep.
But that doesn't get really shown in the show.
No, it doesn't. This is all just stuff we find.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're with Amy. She's talking about the old lady still, and she says that the lady is telling her to get out, but is showing her diamond jewelry, and she's all about her appearance. She likes to act like she has money. She says she was thin. I was skinny all my life. She had kids and did really bad things with money with that guy out there, Amy says, that she thinks is her husband.
Mhm. That she may or may not have killed.
So do we think this is this Julia or is this Susan?
Susan.
I think Susan.
Okay. Yep.
100% it's to me.
That's
Yeah,
what I thought, too.
Julia's, she's not around.
Right. That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then my next section I wrote, did you have dream home on your bingo card? How about brutal murder?
Yeah.
Another brutal
'Cause we got both of
homicide in
those.
the old records.
Yes.
I hate that saying because to me, I feel like every murder is a brutal murder.
Well, if you poison someone, that's not brutal. Brutal is like
I suppose.
beating
Yeah.
somebody or
A brutal
shooting
murder.
them 100 times or
I
something like
suppose.
that.
Yeah.
There are very peaceful ways to kill somebody. Trust me, I've seen
Okay.
a lot of TV shows.
If you've been contemplating, Amy.
Yeah.
Don't tell me I don't want to
what's
be an accomplice.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Plausible deniability. Moving on.
No.
Heard it here, folks.
So,
Or did you?
no, I'll cut it.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I won't. So
Get out.
Steve goes to talk to former detective Edward Wojtal.
Yep.
I would say Wodel. Woidel.
Maybe
I said Wojtal.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. If I
Anyways.
knew his ethnicity, I might know how to say his name, but I don't. He talks about a black couple, Lisa Forbes, who is 20, and Hugh Livard, who is 27. And he said they had raised a 4-year-old boy together, which I thought was really weird wording.
That
Why
was a
didn't he
weird-
just say they had a 4-year-old son?
Because
Mhm.
later they say that she bled to death in front of their little boy.
Yeah, so it apparently was their kid. But I was like,
Yeah.
was that not their kid? Was it just her kid? Or
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, September 11th, 1982, the couple was in Lisa's apartment, which is also weird. I thought, I was like, isn't it their apartment? Maybe they were separated. He grabbed
Okay, hold up.
Yeah.
She would have been 16 and he
Yeah,
would have been
she would have been
23
16 and he would have
in
been
1982.
23.
Maybe it
No,
was
when they
just their
had the
kid.
baby. Because if she was 20 in 1982,
Well,
their boy
yeah,
was
in
4.
1978, she would have been 20, or she would have
No,
been 16,
yeah.
and he would have been 23.
Yeah. Gross.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
What? Wait a minute.
So
Say
because
what
if
again?
So if
So
she has a
if they're
4-year-old boy,
yeah.
20 minus 4 is 16,
Right?
right?
27
yes,
minus
27.
4 is
And
23
he would have been 23. Yes,
when
yes,
they
yes.
had the baby.
Yes.
Math.
So maybe it's not her little boy, but it's theirs now.
I was wondering if it was her little boy because it was at her apartment then too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Or was he there with his little boy?
I don't know. Couldn't find anything else on this story
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
I tried searching for it.
AP
Couldn't
and I
find a
both looked
thing.
up both of these people and I couldn't find anything. I wondered if this story was just made up because I couldn't find anything. I found, let me see, I'll find where I wrote what I found.
There was a Lisa Forbes, but she was set for
She
murdering her
actually
boyfriend.
murdered somebody, went to prison for it, came out, wrote a book, is on the talk show circuit or whatever. And then there was a stabbing and a knife. Yeah, we didn't get to that part, but he grabbed a 6-inch kitchen knife, stabbed her, slit her throat. She died in front of the child.
Mhm.
Yep. She bled out in front of the child.
Yep. And then he freaked out and ran.
Yep.
But I did find that there was in this little, I should say little town. I don't know if it's a little town. I've never heard of it before. But at any rate, in Davie, Florida, in 1985, there was a woman that was stabbed and her throat was slit, but that's not her name. And it's not.
And there were
And the
there
guy
were a
is
couple,
still alive and in prison for doing
Yeah,
it. And he's
there
white.
were
So
there were a couple that were found like in the canal or something like that.
Mhm.
So
there were a whole bunch of unsolved murders, but I couldn't find
Well, I
anything
couldn't
about
find
these two. So I don't
anything.
even know if this is true.
and especially that's where I was like, well, maybe it's outside of Fort Lauderdale or something. But I was looking for that. But then again, here's another one of the tropes that I'm like, oh, they use this to make it seem like it's closer. Where they said he drives to a swampy area that's about 2,000 feet from your client's property.
Yeah.
That's between a third of a mile and a half mile.
Yeah, I looked it up and it's 0.3787879 miles.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I could not find anything about this. So who knows if it's even real?
But then Amy had some connection because it was to the but it was connected to the RV, which I thought was
Mhm.
interesting too, because that
Mhm.
RV could have come from
Anywhere.
something could have been in there.
Yep.
So Amy connects in, but she said this is really weird. It's like someone's broken neck. It hurts really bad. I think
Mhm.
it's a female. Oh yeah, they're dead. They're really dead. Really dark hair. She's a bigger girl, 5'10", in her 20s, and murdered.
And then she also sees a guy
Yep.
who's acting zombie-ish. He's
Mhm.
walking stiffly and strange. He's 6'2", 220 pounds or more. She thinks he might be black. This was in the 1980s. He was in his 30s. And he
Mhm.
gets up on you, made her nervous, and he showed her a swamp area.
Mhm.
So it sounds like this is who Amy is seeing, but
Yeah,
yeah,
we don't talk about them in the reveal either. So.
no, they never come up again,
No,
Yep.
which is bizarre.
And now on
that
to the
they
reveal.
aired.
True.
Mhm.
Absolutely could have happened. That reveal could have been 12 hours long, cut down to 10 minutes. And here's another repeat. I saw several disturbing things on my walk, but blank stood out.
Stood out the most.
Mhm.
So she says she has the old man who's bald, lots of wrinkles. And she says lots of wrinkles on top, but she's just gesturing her upper lip.
Mhm.
Super bushy eyebrows and a thick neck. And then the old lady who made the hole under the bed to rest. And her body is decomposing, which I didn't remember her saying that
She
before.
said that at the
She
very
did.
beginning.
Yep,
She
at the
said
very
like a
beginning.
rotting corpse.
Oh,
Yep.
oh yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right. With the eyes and all.
Yeah,
Yep.
Jeepers Creepers.
Yep.
So she is coming up under the comforter. And
Gross.
then the other thing on the bingo card is, yes, that's what I saw.
Uh-huh.
So anybody else want to talk about the reveal?
I had in here that, at least from the way they edited it, when Steve starts talking about, we get in there, first off, he throws Krista under the bus that she does Reiki, but this is obviously out of her league. And I was like,
Mhm.
really? Like, you couldn't have found a
A
different
nicer way to say that.
And Amy just kind of was like, oh, okay. Yep. Like she's nodding. It appears that she's nodding along. Like, yeah, I figured somebody was doing something or had some abilities here.
Yeah.
We talk about a little dead guy who is very afraid of the deceased woman.
What?
Your cat?
What was it?
Jordan.
Oh,
And then Amy has what I call a light bulb moment when they start talking, because they were talking about Richard Bowles, and
Mhm.
when the lawsuits are mentioned, she's like, oh,
oh yeah.
I always call those light bulb moments because it's
Yeah.
like something just turned on for
Ding
everyone.
ding. I want to mention before we get too far, when Amy was talking about the male and she said he's a little guy. I'd put him at 5'7", and I wrote shots fired because Steve is that height, and I felt like she was like, he's just a tiny little guy, kind of cute.
But I think I kind of took it as like a little old man, like kind of maybe hunched over a little bit or something like that too. But I like your thought. And then we get the first sketch right away. And I was actually surprised because Steve didn't really give away like he usually does. It was just kind of like, you guys tell me. And Michael, the father, goes, I got a knot in my throat because that's the guy I saw. And Amy says, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then
they all agree it's
said,
him.
he said, I have a picture of him, well before he died. And he looks so old. And I said, if he's that old long before he died, what did he look like when he died?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the picture they showed, he was
raisin.
Yes.
Yeah. The sketch was good. I was like, we didn't get a very long glance at it to see if it was really, I didn't take a screenshot of it.
Oh, I did.
That, but
it's in the drive if you want to look at it.
And then we get like the dead woman is finally, the connection is there. Amy is like, yeah, they don't like each other. She was a housewife. Supposedly, so this was something that learned in some of the other information, is that supposedly they got married, or this came out, that they got married in 1896, but she couldn't prove it to the courts.
Yeah. She didn't have the marriage certificate to prove it.
Yep. So that's not something we heard earlier on in the show. That's what we heard in the reveal. So getting new information, that's kind of vital in the reveal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another thing. That
but again, we don't know if they had that and they cut it.
Yeah. And he and Julia were married when they were like, they said he married Julia at 23.
Okay.
So
they were young.
So he would have been 53-ish when he married Susan.
Okay.
Because he died at he died at 73.
Mm-hmm.
So
unless they had like a commitment ceremony and not like an actual marriage.
Yeah, who knows?
Or she might have just been full of shit. Yeah. And trying to get money.
Yeah.
Amy, Amy does say it does feel like they're married. So she does confirm all of the activity that the family is feeling, the confusion, the touching, the brain fog, the chaos, the depression. She calls the old woman an energy vampire.
Yes. I used to work with one of those.
Aren't all vampires energy vampires?
No. They have like blood vampires and then energy vampires. They're different.
But what's your blood?
Yeah, but it's not the actual energy. It's just your blood. You're getting real technical.
What I mean.
Yeah.
I know what an energy and a blood vampire are, but I'm just kind of throwing it
You're
out
just being
there that they
silly.
are.
You're being a silly goose.
Silly goose. I will note
Why
that,
don't you go back to the pond if you're going to be a silly goose?
So this is where then Amy talks about when Amy talks about the voices being gibberish, and she says Krista realizes this is the one her brother has heard.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that's when Amy says this woman does image borrowing.
Yes.
And this is the thing that's like the
I
doppelganger
missed
or the
that.
mimic. She does image borrowing. Well, I Googled image borrowing and I could not find
See,
anything.
and I think what I feel like it's like is like she's putting on a mask. Like
Mhm.
she is putting on a full figure mask that
Yep.
she is the person, but she's not necessarily doing their mannerisms and all the things that would mimic everything, but she's doing just enough that you make out of the corner of your eye or down the hallway, you
Yeah.
think it's the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Krista did say she looks a lot like my mom.
Mm-hmm.
She
Mhm.
didn't say she looks exactly like her,
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
but she looked enough like her for her to go, oh,
Turn
that
around
my
and-
mom's
and-
over
and
there.
say hi,
And then,
yeah.
And go
yeah,
say
and
hi,
then it
yeah.
wasn't her.
I will say too, when they talked about the gibberish, Krista, when she was talking to Steve, had said she'll hear like gibberish being spoken. She's
Yep.
like, I don't understand what they're saying, but they,
Yep.
and then Michael Anthony said he heard someone speaking to him in tongues,
Yep.
which was
Yeah.
just Susan being
And Krista
gibberish.
is, breaking down at that
Yes,
point. Then
You can tell they're a very close family because
Yes.
she's
Yeah.
so worried about her brother.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, and Steve does give her a hanky.
Yeah, he did. I
Yes.
said, about fucking time, Steven.
Amy tells them that this woman has the hots for Michael, and Michelle goes, she's got to go.
Yep. I was going to move on to the second sketch. Are you ready for that?
Yep.
Okay. And then Steve is back to, you're not going to want to see this.
Mhm.
Yep.
This one was
That
fucking
sketch
terrifying.
is terrifying.
I
That
remember this
artist
one from
was
the first time.
phenomenal. That artist did a wonderful job
Mhm.
on this sketch.
Yep.
It was terrifying. I was not a fan.
And I play a little game as I go watch these shows to see which scene is Amy going to depict.
Yeah.
And so I try to guess who
Did you
she's going to
guess?
draw.
Did you
Yeah.
guess?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Coming out from underneath a
Yeah.
hole under the
From
bed.
a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A troll. Yeah.
Yeah. That was really creepy.
Makes
Yep.
me think of, and that's why we drank with M's troll hole.
Yeah, but that sounds like a fun one.
That's a fun one. That's a very
Yeah.
much a fun troll hole. And this was not a fun troll hole.
Yeah. And after we see the picture, then Amy starts talking about the back bedroom and says that person is in trouble and needs
Mhm.
help. They're in such a dark place. I couldn't, and Steve says he was in such a dark place. I couldn't even talk to him.
Mhm.
And Amy's like, whoa. And Krista starts going on how, she's concerned for her brother. And Amy's like, well, you're the one who's most in danger, girl. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then
In
we
the
find
words
out,
of Whoopi Goldberg,
Yeah.
you in danger, girl.
and then we find out about Krista's cancer. And Amy's reaction was like, oh, okay. Like, it was like she's
Yeah,
putting
clicking.
pieces together.
Mhm.
Like, oh, now the puzzle picture is clear.
Mhm.
Yep. Yep.
And she's like, yeah, she wants to jump you and she wants to kill you.
And she has jumped her. She
Mhm.
has been doing temporary possessions.
Yep.
So that's why they recommend what they do at the end.
Yes.
But
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's after we hear about Krista getting jumped, we hear Michael say, I'm pissed as fuck and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yep.
And then Michelle says, I want this bitch out. Enough. Enough.
that's when she said it. Okay. I knew she
Yeah.
said it at some point.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
And we take our commercial break to go
Yeah.
to advice.
But then I will say Michelle did get up and hugged
Yeah.
Krista because she was losing it. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
you could just tell that this family was just really, really close
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
just genuinely concerned for one another, which is not always the case, Brittany.
Right.
But yeah. And then we do cut to commercial for the what do they do?
Mhm.
And the other very much repeated phrase. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Amy.
Yep.
So Amy says she's going to get a team in here that she works with.
Her team. She
team.
specifically said a team of people.
a
She
team
said
of
a
people
team
I
I
work
work
with.
with.
Yes. Yeah.
And they
Which I
have
thought was
all-
interesting because most of the time she'll say you need to find a Reiki
Yes.
master, but this time this is so serious that
This-
she's like, I'm gonna trust the people that I work with.
Well, and I think she always wanted to, but they aren't always available to help everybody because they do this on their own as well, not just when
Mhm.
Amy asks them to.
Mhm.
And I did find out this is spirit mechanics.
Okay.
So, and she said they have all types of abilities and they will take Michael Anthony and Krista away from the home, do a cord removal of
On
the
Michael
late-
Anthony.
on Michael and an exorcism for Krista.
because she's been jumped. And she
Yep.
said each time you're jumped, they leave aspects of themselves in
Yes.
you,
Oh, that was
which
creepy.
just is so gross.
Which, like, to me explains part of why Krista doesn't ever remember. She says she feels
Yeah.
some of these things, but she doesn't remember. She doesn't see herself in danger because the woman's like
She doesn't
blocking.
know, right?
Yeah.
The
She
woman's,
doesn't
like,
know
blocking
everything
it to make
happening to
sure.
her.
Mhm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And then she
And
says
then
the
she
other,
just starts crying. Krista's
Yeah.
crying
Yeah.
because, like, you hear the word exorcism. That's very scary.
that's scary.
Mhm.
That's really scary.
Because you think of the movie that I will never see. But
Oh, I saw it.
oh my God, I'll never in my life see it. Never.
The first
I
time
saw
I
the news
watched
too.
it, I was still sort of a believer back when I watched it. And so when I watched it and she was doing, you probably know what scene I'm talking about.
Is it the split
It
pea
has-
soup scene?
No, it's before that. And she's doing something with a cross
Mm.
and saying something awful. And I was like, oh my God, my house is going to get struck by lightning. And I had to turn it off.
I don't know that scene. I only know the split pea soup scene.
Okay.
My dad used to go because it came out when he was in high school or like in that time frame. And he and his buddies would go into the theater and it came out around this time of year where there was the Shamrock Shakes. And they
Oh,
would go up into
God.
the upper balcony of the Heights Theater.
Your dad is terrible. But that's
not
funny.
That's not even the worst things that he's done. But I'll save this for off air. He was
Okay.
a troublemaker. And so,
Sounds like it.
I didn't learn any sarcasm from him.
Nope.
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 No, I didn't learn any of that from my dad either. That's for sure. So she says that the woman will be removed. The guys, their team members will get bowls out, and then the woman will have to be forcibly removed because she does not want to go.
But she said
And-
Richard wants to go. Like,
Yeah,
he'll
he
be
wants to
easy
go.
to move on. He wants
Mhm.
to move on. But yeah,
And then-
she's like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, you gotta go.
Bitch's gotta go. And then Krista has the best quote.
Before that, though, Steve
Yeah.
says, well, I was going to ask if you're going to take Amy's advice, but that feels
Oh.
like a stupid question.
Yeah.
And Michael goes, yeah, don't even bother asking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that would have been the time that it will say, they couldn't find a Reiki master. And
Yeah.
so they're not, they can, that's always how that works. They're like, oh, of course we are. Of course we are.
Yeah.
But no. So yeah, I just want to mention Krista's
line was
great
great.
line. Yeah. I didn't survive cancer to be taken up by this lady.
Yep.
Good on you, girl.
And then
2 months
cut-
later,
oh, this was so, and I loved, so they do a video update.
Yep.
Everything's good. They said the difference in our life is like night and day. And the thing that made me happiest was Michael Anthony
Yeah.
was in the video with his fiance.
Yep.
mhm,
And he talked.
He
Yep.
talked and
He
he was
said-
like, it's
he
night
said
and
something
day.
lives have
Like, this is
changed.
life changing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That made me feel really happy.
That made me so happy.
See, this is the kind of thing that we are missing when the show does not return. But then we see some of the other crap that we've seen over the time and heard from some of the clients that it happened to
yeah.
that,
Yeah.
gives you that like, yeah. Ugh.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I'm
But
so
as
glad
of-
that this happened, that they got the stuff that they needed taken care
Mhm.
of.
Yeah.
That you could just tell they were all lighter. They were
Mhm.
all smiling. You could just tell
They
the
read their
difference.
script really well.
They read the script. They practiced in front of mirrors.
They're all
It's
paid
life changing.
actors.
No, hold it
as
back. Hold it back.
Greg
It's
thinks.
life changing. No, need more. They need more. So they really did practice. But no, it was
to
good.
see that.
Yeah.
It made me really happy.
Because
Yeah.
I was nervous there, Amy, when he was like, "No, you don't even have to bother asking us that question."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, please. But Amy said it was her team coming in, so I had a lot more
Yeah.
faith that it was.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think that she would prefer to have always been able to offer up the spirit mechanics to do this. But, right after this aired, it was COVID
Mhm.
and they were busy. They couldn't do it there, and
Mhm.
so I think they got backlogged. At least that's what I heard, is that they got
Mhm.
really backlogged. By the way, if anybody who's on Spirit Mechanics team is listening to this, we would love for you to come on the show. We would love to hear about what you do and all your
Yes.
different-
Please.
the different cases that you've done, because I've done a lot of them, and we'd
Pretty,
love,
pretty,
love,
please.
love to hear that. Pretty, pretty, please.
With sugar on top.
Okay, so that was super fun. That was
That was
good.
good.
This was a really good episode.
We've
Yeah.
had a couple good interesting
have.
episodes in the last few here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been good.
It has.
Well,
right.
thank you for joining us, everybody. We really, really appreciate it. Next week is our last spring break recap. We'll be in New Orleans. I think that's how you say it.
Nolans.
Nolans. It is called Deadly Vessel. It was season 11, episode 7, and it originally aired August 21st, 2019. So stay tuned for that. Watch it between now and next week if you want to follow along with us or not. I mean, that's
Or
up
if you
to
remember it. I don't
Yeah.
remember it.
I don't know. I remember a lot of things. I don't remember this. I don't. Steel trap.
Yep.
Colander. So yeah. Well, thanks everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll
Thanks,
see
everyone.
you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Activity Continues podcast. We really appreciate you giving us your ears for a bit. Please reach out if you have a spooky story you'd like us to share on the show. We can be reached at theactivitycontinues@gmail.com or through our website or any of our socials. Links are all in the description of the show. Please feel free to drop us a note and say hi. And join us next time when the activity continues. The Activity Continues is produced by me, Amy, at Collected Sounds Media and is part of the independent Collected Sounds Podcast Network. We are also proud members of the Boo Pod network of super cool podcasts.
Nailed it.